right, everybody welcome. Chair is absent today, so Adam, we could call the roll.
Commissioner Hayes? Commissioner Curran?
Here.
Commissioner Warren?
Here.
Commissioner Chowry?
Here.
Commissioner Chapon Porter?
Here.
Commissioner Glenn?
Here.
Commissioner Floyd?
Here.
Chair Milides?
Here. All right, first item on the agenda is approval of the August 15, 2024 commission meeting minutes.
Chair, I move to approve the August 15th, 2024 commission meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Commissioner Hayes?
Yes.
Commissioner Curran?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Chowry?
Yes.
Commissioner Chapon Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn?
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd?
Yes.
Chair Milides?
Yes. Second item up is the construction update. Steve.
Yeah.
Good morning, Chair Milides, members of the commission. For the record, Steve Robbins, the Director of Distilled Spirits for OLCC. Today, I want to provide you just a short update on what's happening with the warehouse. As you all know, big projects like this, sometimes there are big steps that are taken and sometimes more small steps. We're kind of in the small step process right now, but I thought I'd go ahead and go through that. We'll go to the first slide, Adam. So, we've talked about before the fact that we had a design development phase of this process. We had the schematic design, and then we had the design development phase. Now we're in construction documentation, so we're in the final throes of putting together a guaranteed maximum price and schedule for the project. We are currently on track to have that done the 18th of October. So the great thing about having that number is that's when we really lock down what is the price of this project and what is the timeline. Right now, we continue to work off of estimates, but we're working through all the details now to get as many facts in place so that we can give the most accurate number we can as to where the project is. Now, the nice thing or the bad thing, depending on how you look at it, with a project like this is that we have a preset budget for this project. So if the guaranteed maximum price as we're working through this exceeds that, then it's our responsibility to go through the rest of the project and find places to what we call value engineer or reduce costs in other parts of the project. So I'm excited about getting to a GMP because that's where the rubber really meets the road and we can figure out what things do we need to tweak and pull back, where are we able to push forward. Probably the biggest component of the project right now that's not been determined is the material handling system. And when I say material handling system, that involves all of the racking and the conveyance sortation, automated sortation system in the warehouse. When I say that's not been determined, we've got a design for it. That was determined very early on. But we need a vendor on board who can actually go out, procure all the parts, and install them. That is going to be a subcontractor of the general contractor. The process we've gone through is they have officially in their contract now the fact that the material handling system falls under the general contractor. Now they need to go out and actually procure the vendor. And that process is sort of dictated through an early work amendment to the process, and that is working itself through the Department of Justice and DAS procurement right now. Had a conversation with them yesterday. My hope is maybe even this week we'll be able to have that done. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll be able to have that early work amendment done for that. That really frees us up to then go out and get more specific data, and some of these things have long lead times. It takes a long time to get some of these things made and shipped and on site, and we want to get those things ordered as quickly as possible. We had an early work amendment for all of the electrical switchgear for the project. In other words, sort of the brains and the guts of all the electricity that will run through the warehouse. That has gone through, and they are procuring right now all of that so that we can get some of those parts ordered, because we understand that there could be 18-month lead time on some of those things to get them constructed and out here to the West Coast. So we're excited about getting those things done. More of the nuts and bolts of what's happening right now are sort of the little details that we're working through, and we've got workshops planned where the architect and the general contractor will be on site here at OLCC next week running workshops. And Adam, if I could have you advance the slide. We're now to the point where we're talking about color schemes and samples of carpets and paint colors and things like that. This is a picture. This isn't finalized. As I mentioned, we're finalizing these things in the next few weeks. But this is a picture of the office space that will be in the front of the warehouse, where my team most of my team, not running the warehouse itself, but my team that works with claims and special ordering and purchasing, will be in this portion of the warehouse up in front. So we're talking about, again, we're going to get carpet samples, and we're looking at the veneer for the doors and, you know, what color wood and all of those things. So we're working through that. Adam, next slide. Another component of the warehouse, you can kind of see some themes with colors. This is kind of the OLCC blue that's currently in our logo. This is what we're calling the servery. This is where all the refrigerators, the vending machines for folks to prepare lunches and meals and take their breaks and things will be in this area. One thing I'll mention is there is some, we don't have a ton of glass in the facility inside. You know, conference rooms aren't all just glass cubes. We've got walls and things, but there is some glass you can see here, just providing some openness, some natural light to parts of the facility. The bottom left of this slide is just an example of some things we're talking about is, do we just leave the glass totally clear, or do we put some sort of film over it that provides for some privacy, but there's still lighting? Next slide, please. This is, again, just these are examples and samples of things we've talked through. This is the locker room where employees will be able to store personal items, and there'll be showers and obviously a big restroom here. So we're just talking through the various components and materials to be used on the wall. There was originally some discussion around tile, but with the amount of use that this gets, we're probably going to stay away from tile, because trying to keep grout clean and things like that is a struggle. So again, kind of some of the details. Next slide. I just found this interesting, so I'm sharing it with people as I talk about the warehouse. We've been talking about the air handling systems for the warehouse and how all of the air will move throughout, as well as freeze protection for the warehouse. Our product typically doesn't freeze, but we want to make sure our employees don't. If you see here, this is actually an analysis that was done by an engineering firm as to actually how air movement will work inside the warehouse. This is actually about air velocity, is what this picture is. You can see there's 4 kind of little red spaces. Those are where the big industrial air handling systems will be located. And you can see that if you're standing right in front of it, the velocity of that air is pretty high. But as you move out into a 350,000 square warehouse, it really levels out and moves out through all the racking. Next slide. Again, this is air handling, but this is temperature. And we actually have pictures at multiple elevations, at 6 feet, at 25 feet, at 30 feet. How will the air handling system regulate temperature inside the building? The big reason we did this analysis is we're only going to have 4 air handling systems for a big warehouse. And our concern was just, is that enough to handle all of this? Are we going to need to buy other kinds of fans to circulate? And these are all computer models, granted, but the computer models are saying that these 4 are going to keep it very consistent throughout the warehouse. And that really applies at temperatures on the low end and on the high end. We got most of the analysis was done on freeze protection, which is on the low end of the temperature scale, but we've also asked for some analysis on the high end too, because we want to make sure that if it's 110 degrees outside or 100, which it has been this summer, that we have a system that's able to handle that and make it livable.
Is this model based upon an empty space, or did they take into account that you'll have things blocking it?
Chairman Miletus, Commissioner Curran, it is got the items and the racking in the warehouse. I didn't include those pictures on the front end. The one thing it does not include that we have asked to be included is the conveyance system. Now, the conveyance system typically doesn't have a ton of racking associated with it directly, but the racks that are where product is picked from do surround that area. So we asked them to add that in just to make sure. But really, that's only if you were to look at this and divide it into 25% segments left to right. The second segment, so the middle left, is where the conveyance system will be. And we don't, but everything else has got racking in it. You can see it's not quite as smooth, but it will include that before we're done. So we're also excited to announce that we're doing our groundbreaking ceremony. It's scheduled for December 5th out on the property. So we're looking forward to having folks out there and talking through the project, and we'll have, we're getting enough information every week and month now. We'll have quite a bit more then, and I'll be talking to you between now and then too, but we're just excited that that's when we're going to officially have the groundbreaking and get this thing kicked off. So that's all I have for today, but happy to answer any questions.
That's exciting.
Okay.
So that'll be a big deal. So we got to make sure we invite everybody to that groundbreaking. And are we going to be physically breaking ground on the 5th, or is it just a ceremonial deal?
Chairman Lees, it's primarily a ceremony. I mean, there will be equipment on site at that point. So but in terms of is the whole property fenced in at that point or not, we're not really sure. But we're working with the contractor and the engineers and architects, and everyone's knows that that's the date that we're shooting for.
Well, that should be a big celebration. So we'll talk more. But good deal. Good work.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thank you.
All right. Next up is retail services.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Paul Roseno, currently serving as the Assistant Retail Services Director. Nice to see you this morning. We've got some retail agent appointment considerations, starting out with Arlington. We have one applicant who is going from temporary to permanent. He's been operating the store since May of 2023, and I just heard we were trying to get him online for a virtual presentation. We're
You
good to
should
go?
be in now.
Okay, all right. So we have Gregory Crane for consideration from temporary to permanent. Gregory, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
My name is Gregory Crane. I'm temporary agent 1064. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Greg. Do you have control of your PowerPoint, or do we have that?
I've got control here.
Okay, so Gregory, just let us know when we want to flip slides, and we'll do that on our end for you.
Signed by Gregory Crane. Is that the first one?
Yep, we got that up.
Slide, please. So a little bit about me. I was in the Navy 8 years, and can everybody hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I moved to Arlington in 2018. Wanted to. I was working here a little bit. I love it here. And I was working at the waste management here. It just wasn't best for my personality. So I decided I wanted to, I saw that the hardware store was up for sale. So in 2022, August, I decided to work out a deal and become manager, and then eventually buy the store. Next slide, please. I took a chance on the hardware store. It worked out for me. It came with the liquor store, and Slide, please. So I became a temporary agent in May of 2022. And I've been working with the former agent who actually has his leather business in the store. His name's Ron Wilson. He was the agent from 2005 to 2023. He's been my mentor, and he's helped me out with a lot of stuff in here. And our store hours of operation are 8 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and 10 to 2 on Sunday. Next slide, please. This is the layout of the store. As you can see at the bottom right, the entrance. To the left there is the entrance into the hardware store. So there's access to the hardware store, liquor store. And there's about 350 square feet of actual selling room floor. And, store is about 100 square feet. And so is the office. And you can see to the right, that's where the point of sale's at, and then there's also some storage there too as well. And then in the center of the open area there, that's where we like to present holiday presentations and stuff like that. So next. This is a front display. This is where we would like to keep the newer hot items, as you would say. There's 45 square feet of where we sell product, and there's 62 shelves that hold 390 different pieces of product. So for the size of the store, it's very efficient. Next slide, please. This point of sale station. That's where we sell everything. To the left there is where I like to keep overstock of all the 17s, bigger bottles, stuff like that. I got about 8 employees in the whole hardware store, liquor store. About 4 employees that I trust. They're over 21, that they have consistently selling product that are responsible, plus myself. This is storage. This is the 10 by 10. It's a good, efficient place. I cleared it out, made it work for me. It's where we keep most of the 37s and the 75s. I like to keep a good inventory, so you can see most of the boxes are marked that way. It just helps me with cycle counts and storage. These are my proposed upgrades for the store. I'm going to replace the window blinds. You can see there's a big window there, and we get a lot of sunshine in Arlington. So I like to keep, the temperature in the room decent. So I'm going to change the blinds so that they're up to date and easier to use, because they're kind of worn out right now. And then there's a front entrance concrete step. It's like a ramp step. It's all cracked, it's wore out. I'm going to change that out. There's lights in the store. They're halogen, and I'm going to change those out to LEDs. And then for the the cubby holes with all the product in them, I'm going to put LED strip lights. The next slide, please. Top left is the window blinds I want to replace. They're kind of worn out, plastic. And then those are going to be they run about $500-600. I can do that. And then the next one to the right, that's one of those halogen lights they want to change out. Can't even get halogen lights anymore, really. So I'm changing them to LED. And then, as you can see on the bottom left, there's like a concrete slab that I want to change. And you can see it's cracked, and I'm gonna get that changed. That's gonna be about, I don't know, $700. And then, but then what you can see on the bottom right, there's a cubby hole, and you can see it's kind of cavernous. I want to put some LED lights in there, make that pop, and look really good in there. And those are kind of the areas of upgrade I'm gonna be working on. And next, please. And conclusion, I'm been here 6-7 years. I'm a full-blown member of the community after being here at the store for about 1.5 years. I look forward to serving the community in the future, and I'm happy to become the permanent agent 1064. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Very cute.
Thank you.
Any questions?
So I have a quick question about the concrete slab. When I visit Arlington and want to get alcohol, I want to make sure I can get into your store. So I'm wondering, if you replace that slab, have you thought about ramping it as well? I'm guessing you have access around the other side of the building, but, you know, if you get a chance to make that accessible, have you thought about doing that?
Exactly what I'm going to. The concrete slab of itself, the picture didn't give it any justice. It's already ramped, but I'm going to improve that. And when I replace that, it will be ramped. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Question? Greg, you mentioned you have 8 employees between the liquor store and the hardware store, 4 of which are trustworthy. What is untrustworthy of the other 4?
It's insured. They're not 21, and I'm somebody 21 that has a little bit more years of experience working with people and stuff like that. That know to ask for ID. It's just one of my rules. I would say. I just you can be able to spot somebody that shouldn't be buying it, like an intoxicated person, or Yeah, and intimidation. I mean, they're just the other employees are they're 18. They're just getting out of high school. They need a little bit more experience before they get behind the liquor counter.
Got it, perfect, thank you.
Anybody else?
I got a quick question. Thank you, Mr. Crane, for being here this morning. I have a quick question more so on the P&L of your books. I see that in the year that you've operated the store, you've got in 2024, there's a pretty significant loss. Can you explain the reasoning behind that? I do see an acknowledgement that there was a big uptick in 22, but you had a pretty significant loss, 22%. Can you explain that?
In sales,
In sales, correct.
22%.
One second, Mr. Crane, we're having some technical difficulties. We can't hear you.
It should be okay. It's your microphone. Just as long as you keep talking, it'll pick you back up.
Hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 22%. I'm not quite sure why we had the 22% drop. It could be it could be because when we want to order something that somebody wants, we probably couldn't get it because of demand product, and so they would have to switch to something else, something like that. I feel like I've been pretty consistent with the sales. I did notice that there were some things that some people really liked that we couldn't get anymore. That's not the whole 22%, but that's you know
Yeah. In summation, it's about a little over $48,000. So, Paul, are you able to elaborate here?
I can't speak to specifics, but what we are seeing is a trend, just the kind of deflation from the spike in COVID, and it's hit different stores differently. So some have a substantial amount, some have a smaller amount, but that's probably what a lot of it is. Just a guess there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But no challenges meeting your expenses?
Was there challenges meeting your expenses?
There wasn't a challenge on my end. I just try to run a very efficient store and get product on the shelf that people demand. And with people, getting people to come in. I mean, I just try to stay consistent with what we were doing, and I was noticing a little, a dip. I didn't. This was my first year doing it, and I'm with those issues that we could be correcting in the future. So I'm annotating those, and I'm going to be working on those and getting those numbers back up to where they should be.
Paul, are you familiar with the last audit of this store? How was the audit?
Commissioner, I am not familiar with the audit of this store, but I will pull that up. I'll get the.
While Paul's pulling that up, Greg, are you familiar with your last audit? How'd that go?
Went well. I feel. If I can remember right, I had a 0.56% discrepancy, if I'm saying that correctly. I think the numbers were off, like, I think nine bottles or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll get that pulled up. Thank you,
I
Greg.
should have it momentarily.
We can talk about
No
it
further
back.
questions. Yeah, no further questions.
Was there any other questions? All right, rather than break these into two, let's was there anything else that we had on this one, or are we ready for the next one? Paul?
That's it on our side for this one. Sure.
Okay, let's do them all at once versus break into executive session. So next up is the Hood River Store, 1042.
Perfect, and actually prior to,
Sorry.
I just want to say something on the timer. So, good morning, Hood River applicants. And in efforts of our time this morning, I want to just say that we're going to give everybody 7 minutes. If at any point a commissioner has a question, I'll make sure to hit the pause button on the timer so that doesn't count against your time. Does that sound good to everybody? 7 minutes?
Yeah.
And above all, just take a deep breath and have fun. Have fun. Okay, thanks, Paul.
And Commissioner Floyd, just to address the audit, it was 0.01% off, $228 off, so it was right where it needed to be for the most part.
Perfect, okay.
And with that, we'll start with Hood River. First up, we have John Narani.
Good morning.
That's yours, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Perfect, all right.
Good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to present as a candidate for the Hood River store. Next slide. Next slide. I'm John Nurani with 26 years of operating my own business in the retail sector. I'm married over 25 years with 2 children. My wife is a teacher who will be helping me in operating the store. My son is in his final year of architectural engineering, and my daughter is studying at UWM Pre-Law. Next slide. My professional experience running a business in partnership, a jewelry store in Tucson. I moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin in '99 to open my own very store. The mall decided to turn the property into condos and offices after 19 years, requiring me to relocate my business to Houston. The pandemic in 2020 closed down most retail and public businesses, forcing me again to move into another direction, Providence. Fall of 2020, an opportunity came up to invest and manage the Springfield store. Gateway Liquor Store, what an amazing experience. I love it. All one has to do is provide over-the-top customer service. I also maintained the highest rating by OLCC, including one of the lowest audit discrepancy in the state. The store was sold in spring of 2023 and now has a new agent. I moved to Corvallis and now managing the Corvallis store with an equity in the store. Next slide, please. Data showing our extremely low audit discrepancy of $228. The annual evaluation for 2023 is outstanding. Next slide. Sales history of Hood River store, slight decline, could be attributed to post-pandemic effect. Next slide. The data shows room for growth in canned, cocktail, scotch, and rum. Next slide. Data here shows missing SKUs which generate over $31 million statewide. There's enough room for additional product. Next slide. Next slide. Retail rentable space is very tight in Hood River. Current location is the best available, and I see no need to relocate. Next slide. Next slide. Next. Presenting 2 videos here. First is the current store as is, and second one is Albany Liquor Store, and my vision of what a boutique store should look like.
One moment to pull the video up.
You all done? Or is that-
Next, yes,
Oh, sorry.
Would you like me to go to the next video?
please.
Next, okay.
Okay.
Videos are excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. This slide lays out the timeline of updates and upgrades. Next slide. Expanding both the liquor and non-liquor items to make it a one-stop shopping experience. Next slide. Here's what our customers are saying about us. Next slide. Current and proposed hours, adding 13 additional hours of operation a week. Next slide. Next slide. As Steve Jobs said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Thank you for the opportunity. Happy to answer any questions.
That was
That's
so
an excellent presentation.
spectacular.
Yeah.
That was a great presentation. It was
Thank
really
you.
fun.
The video was made by Salim sitting behind.
Questions? The
I
answer
think you should
is,
do presentations on the side.
Thank you.
all right, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Chair and Commissioners, next up for Hood River, we have Josh West.
I got some physical copies here. Pass those out. Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, Josh.
All right. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Josh West. I want to thank you for the opportunity to apply to be the new agent and present to you my vision for Liquor Store 1042 in Hood River. Next slide, please. Outside of running our business, I love to travel with my fiance, hang out with friends and family, ski on Mount Hood, and mountain bike in Hood River. I'm a strong connection with this area because I understand the community and the people who live there because they're like me, outdoorsy, kind, welcoming, and I'd love nothing more than to call a place I've loved for so many years home. Next slide, please. Working alongside Deepika at our liquor store in LeGrand, I've developed the knowledge and skills necessary to run my own liquor store. I understand cash handling, inventory management, licensee orders, product merchandising, and project management during store renovations. I calculate daily OLCC and non-OLCC drops and train employees based on our standard operating procedures to ensure all laws are followed and customer service is exceptional to ensure product is protected and easily tracked. I also have additional extensive experience with customer service, training, and financial tracking during my time as the general manager of a Best Western hotel. I managed over 20 employees, tracked inventory for linens, food for breakfast, made the schedule, did payroll, and tracked income and expenses. Before this position, I was a mortgage loan analyst with Stancore Financial Group, where I specialize in commercial loans and personally saw over $1 billion worth of loans to closing in 2022. Next slide, please. I currently run a full-service liquor store on LeGrand. I invest in the employees by offering training, paid time off, and health, dental, and vision coverage through our payroll service provider. I created SOPs for the store and train all the employees around them as well. Since February, I've been building relationships with the liquor reps since the previous owner failed to do so. My biggest accomplishment so far has been managing the renovation of the project of the store. It will be done in about a month and will add around 1,000 square feet to the retail floor with over 650 linear feet of new shelving along with a 10-door walk-in beer cooler. During our time as owners of the LeGrand store, we've received numerous compliments on how much the store has grown and product selection has increased. Next slide, please. I recognize how well Mark has run the store and want to use his foundation to build on. I'll be committed to providing the highest level of service while offering a wide range of products to ensure we are a reliable and trusted liquor source for Hood River. My mission statement reflects my dedication and ambition for growth as well as my fundamental beliefs in community involvement and supporting local. Next slide, please. These are the proposed improvements for the store during phase 1 and 2. On the following slides, I have example photos of what I'm planning. Next slide, please. I've already spoken to the property management team, and with the help of a local real estate broker, I've secured an LOI for a 5-year lease with a 5-year extension option for the store. I will add a 5th row of gondola shelving to the sales floor, increase the height of the shelves along the window to gain shelf space overall. Although this narrows the aisles, there's still ample room and allows us to stay in compliance with all ADA standards. I will also add new shelving to the storage room, which is what we have done in LeGrand and has proved to be a very positive change. Next slide, please. In the past, the store has had a major problem with theft, with almost $50,000 lost between 2021 and today. The first thing that needs to be done is to increase sight lines by removing the top shelf of the gondolas. We will also move all small, easily pocketable items behind the checkout counter immediately. This will ensure employees are able to keep a more watchful eye on the customers and products. I'm 6 feet tall, and if you look at the top middle photo, that was taken about eye level. I can't see toward the back of the store if there's a customer back there, whereas in the photo below, I have an unobstructed view anywhere. Please note that we're actually gaining shelf space, not losing any, by removing the top shelf, since I'm adding a 5th row of gondola shelving and increasing the height of the shelves along the window. New products will be merchandised at the front of the store to grab the attention of shoppers, and we'll install window clings on the front windows. Next slide, please. During this phase, the main improvements will include a 2,000 square foot expansion into the existing Verizon store next door. This has already been confirmed with the building owners and is shown on the LOI, giving me right of first refusal for the new space. The new space will allow us to build a massive 18-door walk-in beer cooler and add additional shelf space for liquor, wine, and related items, all to enhance our customers' shopping experience and diversify our product selection, making our store a true one-stop shop. Next slide, please. My vision is to create a warm, welcoming, friendly, and natural atmosphere to enhance the overall experience for our customers. My plan includes modernizing the store with updated paint, exterior and interior signage, trendy decor, unique backlighting for the products, all while incorporating sustainable design elements like earth tones, textures, and natural materials that reflect the spirit of the PNW and the community of Hood River as a whole. Next slide, please. Additional changes to the store include adding 13 hours per week to operations, expanding the ready-to-drink section and related items, as well as section for Mid and Oregon brands, and more specifically, local Hood River brands, which, as we know, there are a lot of. I will also be installing an in-house ice machine as opposed to reselling ice at a markup. Non-alcoholic options are just as important and need to be incorporated immediately as well. I will enhance the security of the store with more cameras on the exterior and interior to prevent any blind spots. There will also be an additional security monitor that will be visible to customers upon entering the store. This will ensure staff are kept safe and inventory is protected while providing the opportunity to spot and improve any operational or customer service deficiencies. Next slide, please. It's no secret that this is the only liquor store in Hood River, but that does not mean that social media and marketing is any less important. I will utilize social media to increase store visibility and further establish our brand identity in the community. This not only gives people an insight into new products, but also lets us be a larger part of the local community by promoting events we sponsor, local clubs we donate to, and additionally, I plan to partner with other local businesses to create a mutual benefit and expand our customer base. Next slide, please. My focus outside of social media includes networking with local event planners. Hood River is constantly hosting events and activities throughout the year. Local bike races, concerts, community 5K runs, and water sports like windsurfing and kiteboarding are just a few of the things you can expect to see weekly and even daily during the summer months. Hood River also hosted over 300 weddings in 2023. That's a huge market we will tap into by working with venues, planners, and catering companies. I know these initiatives will expand our customer base, establish our brand, and increase our licensee sales. I will also start using FinTech for all licensee payments. As a new member of the community, I also want to be able to give back to a place that has given me so much over the years. Next slide, please. I know I'm the right fit for this store, this community, and OLCC. I'm young, ambitious, organized, and tactful in my decision making. I know I have a long future ahead working with the OLCC to continue to sell alcohol responsibly and bolster the reputation of the OLCC in the process, all making a positive difference in a community I care so deeply about. I plan to move to Hood River and devote all my time to bring my vision for the store to fruition. I've already identified problem areas after talking to employees that need to be addressed. I will implement the standard operating procedures from our LeGrand store to ensure all employees are trained the same way for each task. I already have a great relationship with Grant, our district manager, and I'm continuing to build my network with agents and liquor reps. I also just went through this process back in February, which gives me the most recent experience with the store transition. And I have all my people I use to help with our LeGrand renovation ready and waiting to help make my plans for Hood River a reality. Next slide, please. This is a quick overview of the changes I plan to make at the store during my time as a new agent. Also shows a copy of the LOI that has the right of my right of first refusal highlighted right there for the Verizon space. I've also received confirmation from the property manager of the building that the landlord is happy to assist with the TI cost during the store renovation, or the store expansion, excuse me. Next slide, please. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Let me know if you have any questions or would like me to clarify anything.
Excellent.
Can you tell me, is the theft, 50,000 seems like a lot, is that an organized retail theft, or do you think it's just one-off, people walking out?
I think it's a combination. After talking to Mark, it sounds like a lot of it was employee-centered, taking things out the back door. I don't know how much of it was that specifically, hard to tell, right? But yeah, probably a combination. I think the majority of it though was employee centered after speaking with him. But that's the extent of what I know. So security cameras everywhere, storeroom, office area, storefront. It's all needed, exterior too. So yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair? Well, I'm gonna question here something that's pretty glaring at me. You were recently appointed, right? We recently appointed you store
My
agent.
fiance.
Your fiance.
Yeah.
Of the LeGrand store.
Yes.
I looked up LeGrand to Hood River. It's
Yeah.
a 3-hour difference, 275 miles.
Yeah.
What is your game plan? And you're, as what you just said, you're currently managing a pretty big renovation at the current LeGrand store.
Yeah.
What is your game plan to having a hand at both the daily operations of 2 stores 3 hours away?
Yeah, for sure. A totally valid question. I knew that was going to come up. Well, I'd be moving to Hood River and taking control of that store specifically. My fiance, who's sitting back there, would stay in LeGrand for the time being. When we took over the store, we didn't know that there was 2 people already there that wanted to have conversations with us about becoming a manager at the store. One already is the assistant manager, and we plan to promote the other one to manager at the store. If this obviously happens, we communicate with them daily already. They have really stepped up in a way that we didn't expect when we got the store. And so I don't really have any problem with me being away, because obviously Deepika is going to be there for a while too. As she trains the managers over there and I help with the transition, it's going to go great. We've already been able to step away multiple times. When we went on vacation this summer to celebrate our 10-year anniversary, they were able to manage the store with 0 problems without us being there. We have a direct line of communication. They know they can call us whenever anything's needed. And they also have a collective experience of almost 20 years at that store specifically. So, I mean, when we bought the store, they knew how to run it better than we did. And going forward, I have no problems with knowing that it will be in good hands. So,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? All right, good job.
Thank you.
All right, Chair and Commissioners, third up, we've got Troy Hanma, representing Hanma's Liquor Store.
Good morning, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. Appreciate the opportunity today, and kind of start with my background. Next slide, please. Next. All right, so a little easier to read the handout I gave you on here, but I have 45 years retail experience, 42 years with Safeway Albertsons. What's kind of funny is during that time period, there was a training program called the SMT program, and the owner of the Hood River store right now, he was in charge of that. So going back, and Mark and I were talking about the other day about how long it goes, going back 30 years ago, where we were together at that time before he took over the liquor store in Hood River. I have 14 years of store manager experience. That is basically all the ins and the nuts and bolts of the whole retail, from sales, inventory, compliance, customer service, all the way around. My current position, I got promoted to a position called Center Store Op for Albertsons. And my job is basically managing 23 stores in the grocery, the GM, and the alcohol departments in that store. And at one time, I had the Hood River store. So I have a little bit of background on the area and what it does here. After that, or during that time period, I had a sports memorabilia store for like 10 years. It ran pretty successful, ended up selling it after a while, but it was a little different business than what I was used to, but retail is kind of retail on there. Next slide, please. All right, the nuts and bolts of the business on here, protecting the business, all starts with the customer service, the security system, having that upgraded security, and I have a couple buddies that are part of that, really will help get that security system, all the upgraded items. But one thing that's really important, I think, is employees in the store. And one thing that I was really impressed going into the Hood River store was how Mark has really trained his people on the customer service. You know, there wasn't one kind of employee there that didn't greet me and talk to me, ask me what I needed. And I tell you, that's exceptional training from what I remember in Mark, and you could actually see it in the store. But then the daily shrink practices are things in place that's managing that shrink so that you don't have shrink in the long run. I really believe that if you're putting a lot of things in place, you don't have those opportunities when inventories are taken. Right, next slide, please. Hours of operation, as you see on here, the yellow is a different upgraded. Having a little bit of a background, a little bit of insight of the Hood River sales and customer count. The business starts right a little bit around 9 o'clock is when customer count starts going up. So my vision is to open that thing a little earlier to get that business that we're missing early in the morning. All right, next slide, please. All right, so when you think about Hood River, what are you thinking of? A lot of times you're thinking of the scenery out there, the outdoors. You're thinking of the windsurfing, people out there windsurfing, the outdoors, the Fruit Loop tours that a lot of people come and do. I think that what I'm trying to envision to the store, and this is where I think it's kind of exciting, is what can you do to bring that into the Hood River liquor store? And I want to bring that outdoors into the liquor store. So the next slide, please. So here's on the left-hand side is going to be the actual description of what the building looks like right now. And I'm going to kind of go through these with the letters on here. So A right now will be moving the ball back 10 feet to put more square footage into the sales floor on there, which I added on number C there. We're going to add a whole nother gondola along with 4 extra feet of each aisle on there. That will change around 156 feet of shelving to 192. So to enable us to get a lot of the items that we really don't have in the store right now. The B on there, and go to the next screen, please. This is the front of the store, is getting the neon. These are things that are going to have to get approved by the landlord, but getting beer and wine signs in the neon in the front of the store to really advertise that we have those items. Next is this right here is the front decal windows. I'll use right now, this is a brick one, but I'll use a wood one with this on here to cover up the front windows on there, give it a little bit more advertising. The big reason why is the next slide on there is taking that gondola, which right now against the wall on there, is raising that up to around 72 feet to add additional shelving in that area. And that actual light coming through the tinted windows, you're still going to get that light from the outside coming in, but it really blocks it from the outside. All right, next on there. Right now, this is right now is a current picture of the actual building. And one thing that's really impressive to what Mark does in his store on there, very clean, organized store on there. But I just want to get a little different insight. What can I do to bring the wow effect to the store? And working retail for many years and looking at that, you know, when you think about wow, you know, I think when I went to the Portland airport and you look at the new Portland airport, the first thing I said was, wow, man, that's just impressive, right? And I'm not at that level as far as that, but I hope that we could do some things in this smaller location to get that wow effect. So the next screen, please. So my vision on here is painting that ceiling to a dark color on there, taking the wood paneling on the outside of it that matches the floor on that they currently have to get that pop, get the decals of the gorge on there, the windsurfing items on there, the Hood River look on there, giving that really natural look to the store. Next screen. All right, there's the before and kind of after of what the two stores, what I'm proposing. Next screen, please. All right, so here's another view of another side on there of what the building looks at right now currently. The next screen. All right, so if you look at it, it's the same kind of look on there, the wood on the outside going all the way around, so to get that really natural look to the store. But there's one thing that's missing. When you look at it right there, it still doesn't have that pop. So go to the next screen, please. Is getting all the shelving turned to a black shelving on there. I think that black shelving with that wood throughout the whole store will really give it that really pop that what people hopefully will think is, wow, hey, this is a big effect. Next screen. All right, so section D on there is a back wall that we would change currently right now. Go to the next screen, please. And this would be an actual 20 feet. Right now, they have wood refrigeration that we changed it to around 60 feet of cases on that. That would increase that product line. If you look at a lot of social media, you hear a lot of the things that they're talking about, getting more beer selection in the store, and this would enable us to do that. Next slide, please. E on there is going to be the front counter, the next slide. And if you look at it, the top is currently what they have. My proposal on here is to get the counter up on top, put a glass case in front to lock up a lot of the other items on there. And then at the end on there is just my 30, 60, 90 days with the actual budget on the next slide on there and what it's going to take to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, questions?
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Very good presentation. Your current employment is the center store with for Albertsons, correct?
Yes.
What are your intentions if you were appointed this store?
Well, I would end up quitting that position and doing this full time. I'm more of a hands-on employee. I don't, sit back. I've, liked the merchandise. I like doing that wow effect and doing some exciting things, and hopefully could bring that to life in this store. We sold we had a Mayway event where we sold 350 cases of Mayway in less than an hour. And it was kind of a fun thing. So being able to do something like that, probably not to that level, but do some exciting things, I think is what I'm looking to do in the future.
Thank you.
You presented before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which one did you come in?
The Lake Oswego store.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's your territory that you're serving with Albertsons right now?
Right now, it's Vancouver.
Okay.
So at one time, I was on the east side of Portland, and I was on the west side, and now I'm in Vancouver side, where, got a little bit more taste of the spirit side of it up there and what we do there. And, we walk everything up there. It's a little different because of being big, and it wasn't a positive thing, I think, for us as a company, opening it up initially at the start.
Yeah. Oh, you've seen it from both sides then.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Cool. Well, good. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Chair and Commissioners, fourth and final, we have Eric Larson representing Bridgeport Beverage Company. Maybe you should do it.
He really does have wine Ramsey out there, promise.
Here's some pictures of photo books of our current stores. Nice to see you again. We have one of these over here. These are the Cedar Hills. We got another one. This is our bar store. You guys can share this one. Good morning, Chairman Malikas and fellow commissioners. Thanks for inviting us to propose for Hood River 1042. My name's Eric Larson. This is my wife, Melissa. Our son, Garrett, who helps manage both of our stores, could not be with us today. It's a delivery day. We currently own and operate Barnes 1236 and Cedar Hills under Bridgeport Beverage Company. We know time is limited, so we took the liberty of making printed copies of our more detailed proposal, as well as photo books for the Barnes remodel that we did in 2016 and the Cedar Hills build out that we did in 2018. We are a family, next slide, sorry. We are a family-owned business and have been operating as agents since being awarded Barnes in 2016 and Cedar Hills as an expansion store in 2018. Melissa, Garrett, and I collectively manage both stores and have over 70 years of alcohol beverage experience between us. Before becoming an agent, I was the Vice President of National Category Management for Southern Wine and Spirits. Melissa's background is in retail, accounting, and office management. Garrett joined us when he graduated from U of O in 2016 and has been co-manager of both stores since 2018. We could not do it without him. We understand we would have to relinquish Barnes in order to be awarded Hood River. Melissa and I plan to establish residency in Hood River while Garrett continues to manage Cedar Hills. Next slide, please. You'll find in the printed proposal much more detail about our plan, but simply we will remodel the existing space within 120 days, and that will include new floor plan, decor package, space plan, fixtures, coolers, lockbox, better security, longer operating hours, and licensee delivery, which we think is incredibly important. Next slide, please. Mark and his team have done a very commendable job making Hood River a nice local community store. However, we plan to remodel the existing space unless we come to terms with Schnitzer Properties on one of the 2 expansion opportunities we are currently discussing with them. The first being to build out the proposed 4,000 square foot pad across the parking lot. The second would be to merge with the current adjacent space, which is about 2,000 square feet, 5,200 total in the combined spaces. Next slide.
One quick.
Sure.
Schnitzer owns the Hood Rivers, or are you talking about different? Which one does Schnitzer own?
They own the property.
They own the property.
At Hood River?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Where are we at here? In the photo books, you'll see examples of what we accomplished in our Barnes remodel and our Cedar Hills build out. We are very proud of both stores and believe they offer great shopping experiences. Cedar Hills is a true destination store and a showcase for the OLCC system. We have over 6,000 square feet in that store. We prefer the decor package at Cedar Hills, which we would duplicate at Hood River. Next slide. To help make the existing space more efficient and improve the customer experience, we first moved the interior dividing wall backwards, add an additional 12-foot gondola, install 25-inch standard shelving, replace the wooden racks in the back room, add end caps to the gondolas, add lockbox to the end cap, add additional coolers for RTDs and mixers. Next slide. We did a site visit, and after verifying the store footages, we created a detailed floor plan that includes additional gondolas, coolers, end caps, lockbox, new camera locations, and backroom changes. Next slide. By installing gondolas with deeper shelving, we significantly increased the retail shelf capacity by approximately 18% in linear width, 88% in cubic space, and 21% in facings increase. Next slide. Our timeline is November, take over the store, learn the Hood River operations, and get to know their employees. December, get through the holidays and start the plan for the remodel. January, get the equipment ordered and the contractors scheduled. February, remodeled after the Super Bowl, and plan the grand reopening. We propose to expand, next slide. We propose to expand the operating hours by 13% or 8 hours a week. We also, next slide. We also plan to install additional security, including more cameras, a big counter security monitor, front and back door security gates. Next slide. Dome ceiling mirror, drop safe, and lockbox. There was quite a bit of theft in that store. Melissa will take it from here.
Next slide. The current Hood River store employs 2 full-time employees and 7 part-time employees. We would hope to utilize one of the full-times to become a licensee manager and 1 or 2 for delivery drivers. Next slide. For delivery services right now, we currently use OrderSensio, which is an online ordering processing, and FinTech for invoicing and processing solutions. We think this helps make it a lot easier for licensees, us, and the OLCC. It's just a clean system. Obviously, we'll still check checks, but it's a lot easier. Our training would consist of all employees obviously reading and signing what every store clerk needs to know, do any additional training we feel would be necessary, and do lottery and sales and training. We take our responsibility of not selling to minors seriously, and in our 8 years, we have never had a liquor violation. Our marketing plan consists of Google profile and Google Maps are our primary marketing vehicle. Our Cedar Hills profile currently has almost 8 million annual interactions. It will also utilize social media. Building out a new website. Social media is a great way to promote new products, in-store tastings, and the ever-popular chance to purchase lottery. The website would be an informational resource and a possible e-commerce site. Pointy. Pointy is a Google device that records what we sell, and then when people search for that item, it points the customer to our store. As for signage, we would do new window coverings like you can see. You can still see in and out of the store and into the parking area. New door signs, the logo, hours of operation, a security surveillance notice, and a new LED sign.
30 seconds.
Thank you. We use Barcast TV. It is being used by all major alcohol suppliers, and it shows on screens, videos, raffles, giveaways. New gondolas, going fast. We will prominently display all OLCC lottery and Bureau of Labor and Industry signs, possibly a new outside sign, possibly next screen. You're going great. Our financial plan is to use about $72,000 to do capital expenditures, as seen there. In conclusion, sorry. Oh, good.
Closing statements. Go ahead. Closing statements.
Phew. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to present our proposal. We feel Mark has done a great job. He really has. His employees are awesome and the store is great. We think we can make it a little bit better. We hope with everything we've shown you, the picture books, the proposal, how much and how proud we are of what we've already done and how much we've accomplished. We love what we do. We're very dedicated to what we do. We're dedicated to our employees. So just thank you. Thank you for your time.
Questions?
Couple, so, and I touched on it a little bit. So right now, it's in that mini mall. And then you're saying the long-term plan, they're developing a 4,000 square foot
Pad site.
And that would be your long-term plan, like down the road?
That would be a short-term plan, quite frankly. They're ready to do it. That's a space that a lot of people want. And so we'll see if that it comes together. The Verizon space that is next door is an immediate opportunity. It's a matter of getting Verizon moved out of there. And we do have an LOI signed with them as well. So combining to make 5,200 square feet, I actually like the current location. Logistically, the 4,000 square foot pad with deliveries and licensees and everything would be a better suited spot. But with 5,200 square feet, we could produce a really big, nice store. Showcase.
And so Schnitzer, have you engaged with them at all, or is it?
We have an LOI signed.
Oh, okay. When is that supposed to be? Is it under construction now, or is it?
It's being discussed. They've got the pad site proposed as part of the real estate presentation.
The other question I had, so what's kind of the main reason, because you're doing good at both stores, what was the reason for giving up Barnes to go to Hood River, just better opportunity?
Honestly, we love Hood River. We've got a lot of friends out there. It's a wonderful place with all the outdoor activities, and we've talked about moving there at times. It just hasn't been right. This is an opportunity for us to actually move. So, and our son has been working for us since 2018. He completely runs Cedar Hills, or can. We do a lot as well. But Barnes is a great starter store. When we first got Barnes in 2016, I appreciated the commission understanding that we had no idea what we were doing. And they were like, we can't throw them into a big store that needed a big remodel or a build out. We need to get them worked into it. And so that was helpful. The commission had vision beyond us. Barnes is a beautiful store. Somebody can walk in and take that thing over in a second.
Anything else?
Well, I just have to say, Mr. and Mrs. Larson, kudos to you and your family and your team, because that Cedar Hill store is a showcase store. It is absolutely
Thank you.
beautiful. You've done a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Great presentation deck. Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
these.
Thanks.
Thank you.
If you haven't stopped by that store or the barn store, please do.
Yeah.
Let us know you're coming.
Chair and Commissioners, that's all we have for consideration.
I'm actually,
Okay.
if you decide to come by, you call me.
Thank you.
You do the
Yeah.
tour. Thank you. Very nice to meet you all. Welcome to your positions too.
All right, so if that is all, then the commissioners will now go into executive session to deliberate on the agent selection pursuant to the authority of ORS 192-6602A. All right, do we have a motion?
Chair, I move to appoint Gregory Crane as the permanent agent of store 1064 Arlington, effective October 1st, 2024.
Second.
Favor?
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Japon Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Chair Militas.
Yes.
And for Hood River Store 1042 Chair, I move to appoint the Larsons as the permanent agent of Store 1042 Hood River, effective November 1st, 2024.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Second.
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Japon Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Chair Militas.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Very mighty.
All right.
Here's for your new school.
Did you get my vote? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next we have stipulated settlement agreements. We're going back into exec section here? Okay. We'll reconvene shortly.
Commissioners, my name is Jeff Capps. I'm a case presenter in the Administrative Hearings Division for the OLCC. I'm here to present 3 settlements for your consideration today. Got 2 involving liquor licensees and 1 involving a marijuana worker permit.
Okay, let's start with alcohol. Or do we have any questions on them?
No.
All right, motion?
Chair, I move to ratify the 2 alcohol stipulated settlement agreements as proposed by staff.
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Japon Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Chair Militas.
Yes. All right, cannabis stipulated settlement agreements. Questions or
No questions.
motion?
Chair, I move to ratify the cannabis stipulated settlement agreement for Aisha Ross as proposed by staff.
Second?
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Curran,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Japon Porter,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd,
Yes.
Chair Militas.
Yes. All right, we're good.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think that's it. Before we adjourn, was there any other questions, comments? I just had a couple items wanted to mention. The Also Conference, which most of us have been to, that is all the liquor stores in the state. They have their big conference every year. That's going to be October 4th and 5th at the River House in Deschutes. I believe they're going to be sending out invitation to the commissioners, but that's a good one to attend if anybody can make it. It's very informative. And then I just want to make a couple comments on the rules advisory committees on the cannabis side. Those have been very good. I think a lot of times in the past, we've really advocated for folks to speak up in those, be succinct, eloquent, and kind of keep things on topic. I really wanted to compliment the Cannabis Association. They did good. And I think staff, taking those concerns to heart, some of the concerns around property, some of the concerns around just rules in general, it's always good to make new rules, but it's a double-edged sword. So I think, I'm not making too many comments on it because that's still going to weigh itself out, but just bear that in mind. I thought everybody did a good job on that. Also on the hemp side of it, some of the comments were good. I think around the testing, some concerns were raised. We can talk later, but those were good to look at. I know also we had a good talk back there about different, licensing, permittee stuff. I think in the future, I know we're going to be looking both at some of the issues around licensing delays, but also around permittee penalties. So, maybe for future agendas, we will make note of that. So, good meeting, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.